So Nigel Farage said the most insane thing on TV, smearing Jeremy Corbyn, and this has led to Corbyn and his team taking legal action. This is a clip from GB News where you can hear what Farage said for yourself.
I said the Jewish community in North America had been massively successful in law, in business, and yes, they did campaign for what they wanted. They did it within the law. They did it quite successfully, but I was never a subscriber to the madcap conspiracy theory that the Jews run the world. But I tell you who was. Yes, Jeremy Corbyn, the Labour leader that you supported.
First, I just want to say how much of a piece of shit Nigel Farage is. Farage and many like him who are massive racists themselves have the temerity to call other people racist. His entire life, his entire politics has been about dividing people. He's never offered anything positive. So let's look at Nigel Farage's greatest hit, shall we? Compiled by the great and unfortunately late Galdem. In 1981, when Nigel was appointed as a prefect at his school, an English teacher wrote to his head teacher asking him to reconsider his decision, citing his fascist views. Another said that on a combined cadet force camp organised by the college, Farage and others marched through a quiet Sussex village very late at night, shouting Hitler Youth songs. In 2013, Nigel said he supports Muslim immigrants who integrate into society, but not those that are coming here to take us over. In a 2014 interview on LBC, Nigel said that he felt uncomfortable when he heard people speaking in other languages on London transport. The same year, he said the basic principle of Enoch Powell's infamous anti-immigration Rivers of Blood speech was correct. In 2014, Nigel also said he would be concerned if Romanian immigrants moved in next door to him. Yet this man has accused on TV of Jeremy Corbyn believing the worst possible anti-Semitic trope, that Jews control the world. So of the two who are most likely to believe that, it would be Farage himself. Between him and Corbyn, one of them has never been quoted making jokes, slurs, or tropes about Jewish people, and the other has. I'll give you two guesses who. That's right, it was Farage. In 2017, Nigel came under fire for antisemitism after an LBC interview in which he described the so-called US Jewish lobby as a concern of his. He doesn't say Israel lobby, he says Jewish lobby, which is clearly anti-Semitic. Now, Jeremy Corbyn has never said anything remotely like that, yet here we have a deeply unpleasant man claiming that Corbyn is not only an anti-Semite, but thinks Jews run the world. And I'm so glad that he's taken legal action. It's high time that Corbyn put these fuckers under oath. Now, this is what Corbyn wrote on Twitter after Farage made those comments. I have asked my lawyers to take the first steps in commencing legal proceedings against Nigel Farage following a highly defamatory statement about me. We are a movement for peace, and we cannot stand by and let these disgusting and malicious lies go unchallenged. Now, a lot of people have been saying that he should have done this earlier and more often, especially when he was Labour leader. And I somewhat agree. However, the issue at the time is, look, you don't want to be embroiled with multiple legal cases when you're trying to lead a party. The focus wouldn't be on policy, it wouldn't be on the things you want to change about the country, but on these cases, which even if you were to win all of them, it just doesn't look good optically. It's not good that the main thing you're famous for is being involved in legal battles against people who think you hate Jews. However, there were certain times when he absolutely should have taken legal action, especially against this man.
It's appalling for this country that if we do have a general election at the moment, we're going to face a choice between Coco the Clown's degenerate younger brother and a man who wants to reopen Auschwitz. I mean, this is just terrible.
No,
Wow.
I can't let you get away with that. You cannot say that.
You can't say that.
But I mean, why has he turned a blind eye to all these rabid anti-Semites in his
Hang
house?
on,
different
you need to
issue. You cannot say that the leader of the Labour Party, whatever you think of him, would intend to do that. That really is.
I'm sure in 1933 they had similar conversations in Germany. And
Okay,
the Führer's never going to do that.
That there was the biggest scandal during the period of 2015 to 2019. What an outrageous thing to say. It was also outrageous that the media barely flinched. Now, Ian Dale, to his credit, said, you cannot say that, but there was no introspection from the rest of the media. And okay, some may think that Corbyn may not have handled anti-Semitism very well in the Labour Party. I disagree somewhat, but I don't think that is an unreasonable position to have. I think it's a fair enough debate, right? But saying Corbyn would reintroduce concentration camps, that is insane. Yet no one in the media had any sort of self-reflection and thought, maybe we've gone too far with this? None at all. That inflammatory statement is not only damaging to Corbyn, but Jews generally. That is instilling not just fear, but sheer terror when there is none. And that's the sort of crap Jeremy had to put up with. Now, maybe if he decided to take legal action more often, it might have put others off. But I want to go deeper here. And I want to ask the question, which is, what enabled these people in the first place? And the answer to that is the mainstream media and the false narrative that Labour had become a hotbed of anti-Semitism. There was no rational debate about this issue. Yes, it existed in the party, as it did in others, but it was overblown. We have the numbers to prove that. But mainstream journalists don't have an ounce of integrity. They followed the story, they manufactured it, and this McCarthyite campaign has come to its conclusion. And that is people saying whatever the hell they like about Jeremy with no repercussions. The mainstream media emboldened people like Farage because they didn't bother to do any kind of real journalism, didn't explain how the anti-Semitism process improved under Jenny Formby. They didn't look to other parties and show that those other parties harboured more anti-Semitism, and conveniently didn't bring up quotes from Boris Johnson saying anti-Semitic things or asked if the Tories had a problem with Jews. No, that wasn't important. So rather than talk about racism more broadly, it was important for them to focus it on Jeremy and the left. And the two reasons why, one is simply because they didn't like him. They wanted to smear him and stop him from becoming Prime Minister. But I would say that's a minority of people in the media. The second reason was unconscious bias. Now, many journalists hate populism, but they hate left-wing populism the most. So they would believe that the left were more likely to harbour dangerous attitudes because they think the left are the most dangerous group in the country. And it's why they don't take racism seriously when it comes from the Tories or Labour right figures. There's a level of trust between mainstream pundits and establishment politicians, helped by, the cosy relationship many politicians and media pundits have. In reality, all political factions have bad people in them, have racists in them. I mean, we have racists in our socialist ranks. That is true. However, if you look at the data, the left are the least likely to be racist, but it doesn't mean we don't have any. And if the mainstream commentariat had any intellectual curiosity, they would know that. They would know that the more right-wing you become, the more racist you're likely to be, as that becomes part of your politics. Don't blame me, that's just what the polls show. But I'm not saying that every single person who has some right-wing views are racist. I do want to make that clear. No, the far left are the dangerous radicals, so their racism is far worse, despite it being way, way less in number, and despite the fact that racism is disgusting no matter who is peddling it. So when you have people in the media who have this bias, this way of thinking, then of course many of the false allegations of anti-Semitism weren't scrutinised and were actually amplified. And we're left with the real racists of the day claiming that a man who has fought racism his entire life being called a racist. A completely upside down world. But I wish Jeremy well. If there's any justice in the world, he will take Nigel Farage to the cleaners. I like to see him bankrupt from this because I think he deserves it. Of course, it won't come to that. But the fact that Jeremy is taking legal steps shows he is sick of the shit. And you know what? Good for him. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like and drop a comment. It's good for the algorithm and I'm interested in what you have to say. If you're not already subscribed, please do and hit the notification bell. You can also support this channel by becoming a member for 99p per month. And if you're feeling a little more generous, then you can support us on Patreon for £3 or £5 per month. This channel for a while has been uploading every single day, and it's quite a lot of work that is still voluntary and scheduled around my paid work. But I have so much ambition, expect in the future to see more variety in content, such as interviews and Vox Pops. But I want this to be a fully fledged media organisation where not only is this my full-time job, but to have multiple people working for Turn Left. I like to see a live show in the future, more content that delves into culture, history, and much more. But that can only be done if there's money. So please, if you can, support us in any way that's in your capacity. And thank you to existing members, subscribers, and patrons. See you next time.